generation to do something great. And they somehow missed that. They are anti-Star Wars by putting it behind a friggin' paywall. I mean, do you understand that?
Oh, yeah, I understand it.
Money
I totally
be the
get
end
you.
goal of everything. It can't be.
But unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, sad but true. Side note: a billionaire just paid for all these people to get paid their degree, and I want to say Morehouse, but it wasn't Morehouse. It was I forget.
It was a historical black college and university.
Right,
I know that
exactly. So here's my thing. Now what? Right? How many people are in school who've got this problem? And I'm not talking about the whites or the Spanish or the Chinese or the Asians or any of it. I'm talking about black billionaire. Okay, great. You want to help black people get to the next level? How many can you help? I appreciate that a billionaire gave $40 million, right? Which I'm pretty sure he won't miss. It's probably like if you make $50,000 a year, you've given someone what, $500, right?
Dude, it's a tax write-off. It's a tax write-off, but it's a good deed, and hopefully it spurs other billionaires to
they always
address
say that, and it never does.
There's a much bigger issue. There's a much bigger issue in the lines
these
of
grandstanding gestures
student
do
debt.
nothing. Yeah, but these grand gestures do nothing. You'll talk about it for 2 weeks and then you'll be out. These guys, good for them, they hit the lottery. But what will they do? Will they pay for it? Oh, now I don't have to pay for anything. I can buy a bigger house faster. You know what I mean? I told my sister once, if everybody who got famous and got wealthy went back to their neighborhood, to the junior high school they went to, and not give any money, just show up there as a president and tell them that you can make it, and you could. And I think that would do more than giving, these 21, 22-year-olds, essentially a free college education. Because, now, right behind them, you have another class next year who got to pay for this hit, right? What about the group before them? Like the group next year, the people who graduated last year didn't get it. They got to pay it, right?
No,
and then the people who will graduate next year in 2020 will have to pay it. So what does this do? I'm over these showy, nonsensical, ridiculous behaviors, and I'm open for fixes, and no one has any fixes. So, I'm watching Congress try and get Trump's taxes. First of all, I told my buddy, I'm like, why? You don't have to give your taxes to when you run. So why are you hanging your hat on this? What, you want to embarrass him? What are you assuming he broke the law? What? I just don't get it. And especially since all of the people who are pointing their fingers likely took the same tax write-offs and all this stuff. It's why they can shut down Baltimore, because the people who run this place are not serious. They're just not serious. And I think we've been made to believe that, it's just all going to work out because we're Americans. But, it's the environment is formidable, and we as Americans need to be formidable, right? So, anyway, that's the end of my rant.
All right. I just want to briefly touch back on, we were talking before, AOC, talking about facial recognition is a growing, amid a global rise in fascism. Any venue you deal with today, whether it's a professional sports venue, you don't think facial recognition software is already in play? It's more than what you would expect. I to a certain degree.
They've been using it easily for the last 5 years. The people who showed up late, the organization of cop agencies who showed up late to it, showed up 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure the feds were on it at its inception, because they're the feds, and they've got an endless, their black card is a patriotic card. They can buy anything on it, right? So I'm sure they were used on it earlier, and then it trickled down to states and that like things do, and now you have this issue. But the problem is, by now it's so embedded in our system. Someone should have took it on earlier and took it on seriously earlier. But yeah, the government can't just run you through face recognition because they want to. And all those people who are going, well, if you got nothing to worry about, you got nothing to worry about. Those people are idiots, right? Those people are always happy to give up the rights, and then when it comes to them, scream that someone needs to save them. I am an Americanophile, if there is such a thing. But yeah, let's stick to the rules. We're not Europe, right? The more you let this stuff go, the more we become, just in name only. And once you become in name only, you're going to end up with somebody who's going to be president for life or some nonsense. Yeah, I don't know.
You have history. You have past experience with law enforcement, Shawn. I will say this much less random car stops. Why? The software that they're running and scanning in these cars nowadays, boom. You're seeing what's out there. So these random stops are less and less because it's just like, if I'm pulling you over, you're dirty. You're dirty, or your plates aren't up to snuff, or your tag. Something is not right. There is a specific reason besides the standard infraction of you not signaling between switching lanes.
Right.
So
I mean,
this type of tech has been in place, just like you said. I think more on the lines of 10 years.
Yeah, easily.
How long have red light cameras been in effect?
Exactly, and that would be the first thing I tied this system into once I had facial recognition, because red light cameras are situated in two places, right? They're situated behind you, so when you make the turn and you blow the light, and they're situated ahead of you, facing down, so when you're in the intersection beyond the point of no return, we like to call it, they can take a picture of you, a nice clear picture of you behind the wheel. And tons of people got caught this way. So that would be the first place I would put it if I was looking for people, because everyone uses the roads, and those are already positioned, and they're all extremely clear, and they're all wired into some central node, right? Which then, not central node, but like some sector node, Brooklyn, Queens, which all then feed in to a central hub, which all probably leads back to some super government database where, they know what you've been searching for on your computer. And then that plus your credit card activity and, your GPS in your phone and facial recognition and welcome to your not private, but your public private life. You know what I mean?
We referenced the word privacy before, but as long as you have 19 interconnected devices in your home, which is pushing your data out, as long as you use 16 social networks and they are tracking, all the local cookies and everything else that's available on your machine, what is actually private? You've put everything out
and
there.
that is the problem. Like we had this conversation before. Look, and I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but it is the truth of this nation that we live in. Just because, and I said it before, just because technology comes along and lets you, look through houses from like your satellite, does not mean you can use it here in America. Other places don't have this rule, so the Russians can use it, and then you fall behind, because all these technologies will give, like, privacy will have to give way to it. But you in America, whoever runs the place, Congress, the president, the Supreme Court, has to fix it. Legally make it righteous. They just can't do it. So if they got together and repealed something, like they repealed slavery and they or give you something like they gave women the right to vote and or most people the right to vote who weren't landowners, right? Something has to take place. You just can't keep using this and act like, privacy is still a thing in America. You can't, especially when people give you all this information and then you lose it, and then there is no consequence for losing it. So I expect not to give up any liberties, but I do expect some security, right? The idea that Facebook, what they say last week, that business is now security, is sort of ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
come on, that's a joke.
It's like that should have been. How security not even in your dungeon when you started this thing? If I'm having a
you
nightclub,
make your money.
Yeah, and
you make a ton. You make a ton.
A ton.
I just want to say this really quick. You make a ton of your money from advertising and from selling information based on XYZ clicks. Come on, you can't do you can't do a 180 and turn around and say, okay, I'm going to go do this now. But you were saying something about a nightclub.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would say the idea that if I owned a nightclub and people just kept getting punched in the face and stabbed and robbed, and the cops showed up, and which is what Congress did when they interviewed Zuckerberg, and I was like, oh, well, I'm getting around to security, they would shut me down, right? The idea that they can go, oh, we're going to deal with security now after, 10 years of people's information and all this stuff, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, well, it makes sense to me in the most sinister way, but it's not how you should allow a company in America to run. American companies never get their right to operate pulled, and maybe one of them should, just to send a lesson to everybody else, right? And put all of its holdings in a fire sale. Like, I would have done that with Marlboro cigarettes after they lied to the nation for 30 years about tobacco being, not addictive and not dangerous. I'd have been like, you no longer have the right to operate in the American territories, and as you're an American company, we're going to hold we're going to suspend your right to operate. That would put you in limbo for like 50 years. And let someone else take their market share, but learn the lesson. Okay, there's a new market share open, but maybe we need to fix, so we don't end up like that extinct and disgraced company, versus letting them run themselves into the ground like Enron did. Enron took a lot of people to the bottom with them, and it was allowed to happen because, people are connected and people are ridiculous. So, I don't know.
Hey, I do want to give a big shout-out to Lucy D. Loud. Lucy D. Loud has a product that we're seeing, or there's iterations of this product where we've seen glasses with bone-conducting speaker audio. I tried a pair of Lucy D. Loud glasses last week. Technology is being added to just about everything in one way or the other these days, with music being one of our favorite pastimes. It's no surprise. Audio technology is cropping up in more and more devices. Big shout out to Lucy D. Loud. I saw something disturbing in one of the items that we were talking about, and the disturbing item, I will say, is not the Netflix, pushing the envelope with, eventually Netflix is going to start to run ads more and more and more. That's what it's coming down to. I think it's something we won't be able to get around, truthfully. Not only are you charging us $16, but I think it's going to be more product placement. Much more
You know
product
what?
placement.
I may at that point I may, and most people won't, but I may opt out. I mean, I'm on a. God, it must be like 10 years down boycott of Adidas. So I'm stubborn like that. But the idea that I signed up for your original plan and then you just become broadcast television with commercials,
Right.
Why am I doing that? So, man, maybe
Products.
I'll actually write that novel, Paint More. It says TV won't be in my life. Maybe it's time me and TV broke up. You know, TV has not been very kind to me other than PBS and like a series of documentaries that I really love. And quite frankly, I think I've fallen in love with YouTube, if you really want to know. So maybe me and Netflix should break up. Maybe we should see other people. Because if you think I'm going to pay more for this ridiculous relationship while you now add commercials, and you know what, they'll probably be just as long as, in the beginning they won't be. They'll probably be these 5-second clips, and then a year and a half later, there'll be 30-second spots, and then before you know it, you'll be doing 5-minute commercials on YouTube. And by then, I'll be out with, like, my dreads, wearing a dashiki, wearing sandals, smelling like patchouli, talking about the cosmos. And y'all can keep your TV sets and your season 47 of Law and Order or whatever the heck it's going to be. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it says Netflix turns to New Coke. Netflix turns New Coke into latest star of Stranger Things. So there's going to be product placements and Stranger Things, and it's just, I don't know. But I mean, think of it. Think of Netflix's endgame. You burn cash. You're burning through cash on licensing. Mainly more money on licensing.
What did they
material.
license?
Well, I mean, think of they paid
is there a Netflix Bear I don't see?
No,
that would be awesome, Netflix.
I'm talking about. Look at the TV show NBC's The Office. They are $100 million a year.
So I thought you meant licensing, like they were licensing something to other people, but instead they're licensing other people's content. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
You know, they paid, I don't know, $50 million for Friends, because these are shows that people like to watch over and over and over and over and over. And so you want to look and you think about where's the money going to.
This is the problem with all these guys. All the new ideas never come from these boardrooms or never come from their talent agents, right? Everybody's going to try and, like, rush YouTube to get these stars and try and see if their YouTube magic will rub off on broadcast TV and off on YouTube, but off on Netflix or Hulu or whatever the case may be. But we've seen this with what's the YouTube woman who went to Netflix? She had a show called Too Dangerous for You or Too Important for You. I forget the name of it. But excuse me. But she was originally a YouTube person. So I think the magic of YouTube is it's short. It's like 10-minute clips. Or like I like to watch cooking channels, and those take 15 minutes. So and it's not something that's serialized, but generally it's not. It's topical, not even topical means it's current. But it's about topics, right? So it's a topic on this, a topic on that, a topic on this, all generally in a genre, right? So potatoes, meats, fish in a cooking genre, right? Superheroes, Batman, science, in a science fiction genre, Batman, Star Trek, science fiction genre. People do animal genres, right? So all these things are interesting, but they're all fairly short. I don't sit on YouTube for anything longer, quite frankly, than about 20 minutes. And that's usually for one video. I may sit here for like 3 hours watching YouTube, but I won't sit and watch one thing for 3 hours on YouTube. I'll go watch TV for that, right? So the magic of YouTube is short. The magic of Netflix was that there was no TV, and you could get the whole season at a drop, right? These two things made Netflix great. Early on, it was cheap, and that made it good too. But if Netflix is not careful, and I'm a huge fan of Netflix, they're going to end up like Sears, right? They need to, I mean, all these guys are stealing their model, and these guys have been around forever. And those guys, Disney, right, they saw what happened to Sears, right? They're not trying to go out. So they'll just adopt your plan with all of the trillions of dollars that they have. And now what are you going to do? Not only do they have that, they've got 80 years of content from silent film, black and white film, the 50, 60, 70, 80s, dramas, comedies, you know, cartoons, documentaries. You know, they've got all this crap. All this stuff. What does Netflix have to challenge that? You know, especially now that everybody's running at their model, which is a great model. I think Netflix is going to have to throw their money into content and filmmaking. I think that's where it is. I think the magic of it is people. I think people like Netflix for those two reasons. You get to find something. There's a lot of stuff there to watch. And then you can watch the whole season if it's great. And every now and then they'll come up with something that we all have to see, like Stranger Things. That first season, we all watched that, right? And,
right,
you know, it's the Luke Cage thing. We all watched that. So sometimes it's just it gives you back that sense of a lot of people won't remember, a lot of young people won't remember water coolers, but the idea of a water cooler was you'd all get together and you talk about the late great thing that was going into society. Oh my God, did you see the latest Star Wars movie? Oh man, did you see the latest Avengers thing? Oh man, but that's not all the time, right? But you know, when it's not a movie every 6 months, it can be a Netflix show every what? They drop something weird every quarter, right? Because I was watching oh my God, what's the name of that show? Anyway, and I got all into it, but the next part of it is gonna drop at the end of, I want to say, November. So you know, okay. April, May, June, July, August, maybe September, but you know, it's maybe it's every 6 months, but you know, it's I don't know, man. I don't know what their end game is with.
End game is money. It's world domination.
Every other people, yes, exactly, world domination. But if other people are stealing your model, how do you not? How do you?
As I said to you before,
you can't keep doing the same thing, can you? And stay in business.
You gotta adjust. You gotta be flexible.
You can't stay in business by keep raising your prices.
No, you can't.
And then adding commercials.
That's the lazy
right?
way. That's the lazy way of doing it.
Maybe they just start selling tote bags.
Now everyone has a Flix. You know, all these streaming services now have their version, and it's unless you come up with a solution.
Yeah.
I just want to recap that what you said about YouTube. YouTube, so many people love it because it's for the indie people.
Yeah, and the corporates are moving in fast on YouTube, and I hope YouTube respects and protects their indie base, which made them YouTube, right? So, yeah, let's see what happens.
Hey, this is Ted Hicks to Late Night Parents speaking with Shawn Armor. True_Armor. You can find them on social media. Want to give a big shout out to the MS Women's Center. The call letters are KMSW. Want to also give a shout out to Global Community Radio that play the show also. Want to thank the community stations that put up with us and play the clean version of the show where we're not rambling and just Well, sometimes. Sometimes. I mean, I think it's good to just speak the truth regardless, whether however
not
feel
everything
about
is scripted. So sometimes you may take a pause or have to reword things or search for the proper phrasing. I think people understand that. I mean, I don't think they think that we're pulling their legs or blowing smoke. We're just trying to tell them what we think of the things that we think about.
Here's a topic that I will say I think is reproachful because I see it as a money grab.
Right.
Because it says Whitney Houston is coming back as a hologram. The estate of the late pop singer has sold a 50% stake in its assets to a New York company that will exploit her name and likeness.
50% stake.
Well, that will exploit her name and her likeness.
Yeah. And they use exploit, so they're not playing games. They're not,
no.
They knew somebody was going to say they were exploiting her, so they just throw it in the press release. And now you're robbing.
They're like, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to, you know what? We're just going to throw it out there right now.
This is what I say. Whoever wrote that press release, you got to watch them because they're the new Roy Cohn. That was a brilliant move, putting exploit in the press release. I fully expect that person to be president in like 25 years. Wow. Yeah. Look, man. People will do anything for money, and this is the problem. You should not do anything for money. But if I said I'm not going to do anything for money, someone's going to do that for money, right? So the thing is still going to get done. So that's most people. In this scenario, you didn't need to do it because I'm pretty sure her estate is flush with cash because she's Whitney Houston. And two, I mean, are they? I don't know. Maybe people don't know who Whitney Houston is anymore. I mean, when did Whitney Houston pass away? I'm thinking in my head, like
2010, 2011. Was it after Michael Jackson passed away?
I thought it was before, right? Was it?
Oh, okay.
But I'm wondering, like, people have a window on their fame, right? And this is how you know who the really, really great people are. So no one knows who Chubby Checker is, right? Well, I can't say that. A lot of people don't know who Chubby Checker is, right? Because Chubby Checker's fan base is older, right? My dad took my mom to the sock hop listening to Chubby Checker. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's that. So that was in the 50s, which I guess was, 60 years ago or some craziness. So if you're 25 and you know who Chubby Checker is, you generally know that because your parents introduced you. It was playing in the house. It's why I know a lot of gospel music, and country music and all these other weird things. So I'm sorry, I sort of spilled something. So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought when I spilled this thing all over my desk.
No. I'll jump in and just
please.
Say. What people will do
Whitney Houston.
What people will do for money. There is no end. And
but the money. I guess the money runs out. Are people still buying Whitney Houston stuff? You know what I mean? So maybe that's what it is. They're like, we thought that this whole thing would last like Elvis for 30 years. Instead, nobody's buying Whitney Houston stuff. From a friend of mine told me like. Elvis's Graceland is in trouble, right? Because of the same thing. Elvis's fans will be 80 now. Nobody dances to Elvis. Nobody dresses like Elvis anymore. And the people who do are considerably older. So this is, you pace your heroes. I grew up on the tail end of Westerns, right? I saw a lot of black and white Westerns on TV as reruns, but my dad grew up with them as kids because that was a hot thing as kids. By the time we were kids, it was cop shows, right?
It's still to a certain extent is cop shows, but so you know, and then you associate people with this. So I still like William Shatner, like been watching him forever, and people know who he is because he's still around, and they know Star Trek is
still
possible.
relevant.
Right, but some
Still
people
relevant.
may not know the old show, right? So, God forbid, when Mr. Shatner passes, the clock begins to tick. So, somewhere around 15, 20 years after that, people will be like, William who, right? Oh, I used to watch that show on TV with my dad. He was a star, you know, train fan. It's track, whatever, because, you know, it's not something that he cared about. Like, I love old black and white film noir movies. And trying to get my nephew to watch, like, Humphrey Bogart in the Maltese Falcon or, you know, Key Largo or any of these great movies. He's like, I'm not trying to watch some old black and white. Like, I got high-def television. Why you bought, you know what I mean? So maybe as this world runs as fast as it runs, maybe they're realizing, you know, radio plays isn't enough. She used to bring in a straight ton. She's got classics, but how many times can you listen to the national anthem, Saving All My Love for You? And what's her third? I think she's got 3 or 4 really super big ones. You know, it could be that. If it's not that, trying to keep it up and alive, you know, then it's just a sad move. It really is. It's a sad move. A hologram. I mean, it just what won't you do to someone who's gone? You know what makes this is all part and parcel of something that makes me crazy. This idea that people wish people who are dead a happy birthday, right? I'm like, you can't do that. It's not a birthdays are sort of for the living, right? So, but it's I don't know, man. The whole environment doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to people who I think to a lot of people, quite frankly. Happy birthday. I would like to wish my ex so-and-so who passed away in 1904 a happy birthday. She'd be 200 and XYZ. I'm just like, what? Like, I mean, loss is hard, but, I mean, happy birthdays are for the living. So you end up with these people who just kind of, I guess, won't let things go, won't put things in a proper perspective and let things rest. They should let that woman rest. I mean, and if you didn't, then there should be, you can't do this to someone who didn't say you could do it. Some people have said, don't use my likeness in anything. Back before this was capable, they didn't want like their picture on a poster of something for cigarettes or whatever. I want to say Sinatra, but I might be wrong with one of these people. But the idea that now that you're gone, you know, they can make money on you. If this keeps going on in 50 years, people are going to have their most famous relative pickled outside of their, you know, candy store going, this is my Uncle Ralph. He fought I'm about to say the Nazis. That was 100 years ago. He fought ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He saved all these kids, and then he became mayor. Look at him. And he'd be pickled there, like, in his finery from, like, you know, if you don't watch it, it will get out of hand. A Whitney Houston hologram. Gosh, I mean, you don't need it. You know what you need? You need someone who sounds like Whitney Houston. Go find that nut. I mean, that's the magic the world needs. I don't think the world needs a hologram Whitney Houston.
Nah.
Yeah. And how? I mean, why go on 50? I mean, how long did they do this with Tupac, right? I don't remember that. I mean, I remember the the buzz about it, and then it was sort of, the event happened, and it was over. And nobody was like, man, we need to put more holograms in everything. Sports arenas, Super Bowl shows, concerts, you know what I mean? It was just, they did it that one time, and that was it. And now it looks like they're doing it again to show that, I don't know.
We can do it again. We can do it again for money.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? The way things move, maybe in 15 years we'll all have holograms in our house, and that's the way we'll be watching, the Beyonce concert from, her living room.
True.
And we all just pay a fee and almost essentially Skype into like a holographic performance of her in her own home. Go, thanks for coming by. Oh, look, me and 1.2 million other people are here in Beyonce and Jay-Z's kitchen. Listen to her sing Put a Ring on It. Like, I mean. Ugh.
Hey, final fun topic we'll cover here. Popular video game streamers can make $50,000 an hour to play new games.
Yes.
Where do we sign up?
Exactly. I'm in. I've been playing for free, like a moron, playing video games for free. And yeah, I play a lot of video games. I was trying to get my channel up, do more streaming, do more cooking, do more video gaming, just kind of like try and live on the not really live on the web, but just kind of like get a little more web savvy and be web horrific. So I think a lot of people are doing it. I think it might, and you don't have to be good at these games either, right? You just have to, I guess, be fairly interesting. If people want to listen to you ramble or watch you try and storm the castle or, cure the plague or rescue the maiden from the moon or whatever the video game you're playing, you can stream that. Or if you play pool or those phone games, you can get a cord and have your phone stream the same way people play these phone games and they stream them. And I was like, really? So my commute from point A to point B, if it's on a bus and it takes a half hour, I could give you a half-hour stream from the bus, and you don't know where I'm at. Yeah, I mean, I was telling my nephew, the new ways to make money in America is why everybody wants to be here. So, yeah, I think it's an amazing $50,000. What's that ninja guy? He made $500,000. He makes $500,000 a month playing video games.
Yeah.
Talk about your mama being wrong. You know what I mean? Oh, now all these kids will go, oh, I play video games because my hero so-and-so plays video games, and this generation of moms is like, honey, put your headphones on and make sure, your sync rate and your frames per second is up the key because we need to get this money. Yeah, it's I mean, $50,000 at the low end playing new video games. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're good at video games, the sky's the limit. But yeah, who don't game? And they make games for all reasons. Where can I get this job again? So beautiful. But I will tell you this: if your job is video gaming, how do you complain about that? Your boss? You're your boss. It's like you stream on your own time. Like how do you call in late for work if you show up in your pajamas? You can do it any time of day. You're not doing 8 hours. Most people will do an hour or two stream, right? Hour and a half, and then go about their day. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Streaming.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So tell us about the stuff that you're doing cooking-wise. Tell us about the stuff that you're doing online. Tell us what's going on in your world.
Yeah. So I am trying to. Every time I talk, I'm always trying to organize this channel. So I've begun to do more cooking just to kind of like clear my head. Cooking always helps me clear my head, and I decided to do that online, do that in gaming, and my
workout routine. So I'm in the middle of coming up with a calendar for all that behavior, so I can kind of launch it by like July 1st, because all of June I'm going to be in New York, being ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. It's really I'm always talking about like creativity, and there are several types of creativity. Some people can create in a group, bounce ideas off each other, and build a creative beast that way. Some of us wrestle this thing by ourselves, right? And you know, if you live in your head all the time, it gets to you, whether you're writing stories or trying to figure out equations or just trying to solve household problems. You have to take a moment to kind of like decompress and be like, ugh. And the problem with this channel, my channel, I'm going in about this channel, is it's just me, and I'm fairly an eclectic, a weird person with some lazy issues. Let's call them lazy issues. I won't sugarcoat it. I do think that my own pace, which is what I have to. I need to be more respectful of my readers and my listeners, and do things like 2 to 3 times a week, which is what's going to happen come July 1st. And then I'll be a consistent loon versus a intermittent loon, and that's the plan.
Oh man! So hey, promote your Instagram feed, because I see you making some delicious dishes on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, man.
Yeah, I made a pot roast just because I'm trying not to order up all the time, and I want to know what's in the meal that I'm cooking. I want to be able to control the salt content and the sugar content and all that. And then on top of that, I was like, you know what? I will be eating for the rest of my life, so I might as well get really good at eating. And the only way you can tell, not good at eating, good at cooking, and the only way you can tell if you're really good at cooking is if other people eat your food. So I'm in the stages of cooking up some stuff, and I've thrown it all up on my Instagram account, which is True_S_Armor on Instagram. And, yeah, follow me on Twitter, too, which is just as pithy, would you say, Biz?
Yes, I would.
Which is True Armor, no S on that, True Armor on Twitter, and Armor Intergalactic on YouTube. So those are the places that I speak to the world from, and I hope that you yell at me from any of those sites.
We'll see about getting that episode for tomorrow to talk about Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of the other items that we didn't cover, but I think for the most part we caught everything. We didn't talk Michael Avenatti and Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
We didn't talk that, so we'll schedule something for tomorrow and drop something tomorrow.
Absolutely,
man. Speak with you shortly.
Absolutely, man. Good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Be good.
Peace.